We're starting off a new week with a bunch of different clues that are different puzzle pieces for larger stories that we're watching, plus a dinosaur making history. Because why not? It's 2020. So let's launch into some of your big stories of the week. Something just to know as you're starting off on Monday is we have a big jobs report that's coming out on Friday. And what that will do is it will tell us the new unemployment rate for America looking back at July. That's an important backdrop to the story about economic stimulus that we're watching in Washington, D.C., where lawmakers are trying to get together on some sort of stimulus bill to help brunt the impact of COVID-19 on the economy. One of the major sticking points are these bonus unemployment benefits. Unemployment benefits and what you receive for unemployment benefits really depend on your state, but the federal government stepped in at the beginning of the pandemic and said, we're going to actually give people a little bit more money on top of that because we're in extraordinary times. Democrats and Republicans are apart on what exactly that bonus should look like, although both sides are saying that it should still take place. So this is really important to watch because on Friday, we're going to get a reminder about what the job market looks like during this time, and we're still expecting double-digit unemployment. So that's something to keep in mind. I'll keep you posted if we seem to be making any headway. Right now, it seems like both sides are pretty far apart. In the meantime, a lot of talk about getting children back to school as we're in August now. And remember, a lot of the labor force and the work week really depends as well as a collaboration with the school schedule and making sure that moms and dads can actually go to work. So important things to know about this is that you might hear this term positivity rate. This is the number of tests that are coming back positive in a community. So the higher your positivity rate can mean a couple different things. And it's hard to just say it's one answer because we're also doing a lot of proactive testing right now. So in general, if your positivity rate is higher in your community, that's a signal of higher infection rates. And so the CDC has sort of roughly used this idea of 5% positivity rate in your community as a determinant about whether or not kids should be in school. Again, very loosely. And you might say, well, how do I find my positivity rate in my community? Great question. I tried to look last night, not easy to find, but I'm on the case. So I'll make sure to give you the resources when I do find out maybe a helpful way to do that. In the meantime, though, the University of Texas in Austin, they put together this very interesting interactive study trying to estimate if your child went to school in a class of 10 people or in a school of 100, how likely it would be that you would have infections in that particular school size. So if it's a pod of 10 people, a school of 100, a school of 500, we're going to have a link to that on the website. They're trying to develop a tool to help parents figure out, well, what does infection really look like in my community and what's the risk of sending my kids to school? So that'll be on the website. I'll make sure to link that for you for parents that are curious about that. In the meantime, there's a new study out about children. And, one of the big questions has been like, how infectious are kids? We know that they're infected at lower rates, but we also know that we're not living quote unquote normal lives. So this new study came out, a small one, looking at the presence of virus in different patients of different ages by doing nasal swabs. And what these researchers found in that children under 9 had the presence of up to 10 times to 100 times more genetic material of the virus in their upper respiratory tract than those of older ages. That said, we don't know if the presence of the genetic material actually means that they're more infectious. And so that's the clue that we're trying to pull together. Well, if they have a presence of the virus, does that actually mean they can transmit it easily? Does that mean that they're actually infectious? What will that mean when they get back to school? We don't know yet. Quick story about China. I know there's been a lot of questions about these mysterious seeds that have been delivered to different parts of the country. You may have received one, these mysterious packets of seeds. The USDA did do some testing. They're not all the way through it. They found that some of the seeds were cabbage seeds, roses, lavender, mint. So it seems pretty innocuous, but still a big question about what's actually going on there. We're watching China for a whole bunch of different reasons, including this question about TikTok. Do you guys use TikTok? It's the app, makes you create fun videos. I haven't done it yet. There's the concern within the US government about China taking data from TikTok and using it in nefarious ways. Now we're learning that Microsoft is in talks with the TikTok parent company to potentially purchase the US business of TikTok. we'll see what happens. They have a couple weeks to try to figure that out. Final thing, big history making weekend. You had astronauts returning to Earth, splashing down in the ocean. We haven't seen that in several decades. I could have sworn that these astronauts went to space last week. They didn't. It was over after Memorial Day weekend. SpaceX rocket sent these astronauts into space. They're called the Space Dads because they're both dads. First time we're seeing a private company do that, send these astronauts up, bring them back down. The bringing the astronauts back down part actually created a lot of concern. The whole thing did, but bringing them back down, even when they launched, the day that they launched back on May 30th, was a big concern. Successful, safe landing. The Space Dads are back. They brought a dinosaur back, a sparkly pink, purple dinosaur that their children gave them to bring to space named Tremor. Tremor is safely back on Earth. I thought you should know about that. I'll have a picture of Tremor on our website. I know there's a lot of talk about these astronauts as space dads. You should also know that these two astronauts are married to astronauts as well. Two women that they met in the program going through learning how to be astronauts. One of their wives is going to go into space planned next year. Pretty interesting. So space dads, but also space moms. All right, guys, have a great week. And questions, comments, let me know. Please let us know what else you'd like us to explore on smarternews.com. I'll talk to you later.